everything set out. And we should be good. So, alright. Hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is June 21st, and this is the June 21st TextQuest Devstream. So, today we are going to be working on... Oh, interesting, it didn't change scenes like I wanted it to. We're going to be working on combat stuff again. Specifically, we are going to be working on items today, because I need to come up with a way of basically consolidating items into specific types so that I can reduce my animation workload. And I think that's going to basically take the form of 3 different item types. Well, technically 4. Either none, you don't have an item equipped. Blunt, which is, think like the staff or the scepter from the castle. Obviously, it's just something that's, a blunt object. Blade, which is something like sword, and magic. And the reason that I want to condense it down to those 4, technically 3, item types is that just will let me have a generic animation for all of the blunt weapons and all of the bladed weapons and all of the magic weapons. It's not like there's tons of weapons in this game, but I want to have different types of equipment just so that you can go into combat and you can have potentially specific items that do specific damage, or like you might be only able to damage an enemy if you have a bladed weapon, stuff like that. So I need to support, multiple animations whenever you equip, say, like a bladed weapon in combat. That will probably look different than when you equip a blunt weapon. Also, equipment animations are a thing that need to happen still. And on top of that, we need to account for specific items being equipped to cause specific things, similar to how we have our crate only being in one position if a lever is pulled. We would probably have an extra option be available if you have, a certain item equipped. So those are the sorts of things that we're going to be taking a look at today. Real quick, I guess we'll go over some of the stuff that I've done since Tuesday. I have fixed the issue with... so I'm going to go ahead and mute the audio here. I have fixed the issue with combat cutscenes basically immediately failing if you fail them in the past. Hello, Cache Override. Welcome back. Indeed, it is Action Castle, except we're not really in a castle, but we are doing actions, so, that's cool. Anyway, so with this, what was happening, apparently, is, so I'm just going to let this fail. Apparently, if you play a timeline, and then it finishes, and then you play that timeline again, its time is still set to its end. So basically what was happening is when I would go into battle again, it would play the cutscene, but it would immediately jump to the end of the cutscene and then say, oh, it's the end of the cutscene, you didn't type anything, so you failed. I don't know why that was happening sometimes, but not always, because it didn't used to do that. And I'm just going to chalk that up to some weirdness with timeline. But now it is consistent. I basically force it to the beginning time, and then that lets me actually, do what I need to do. Ooh, that was interesting. Interesting. Okay, I think I failed that one too. Still getting some weirdness there with the multi-attack stuff. I mistyped once, and it threw an index out of range exception, which is not good. So, we'll probably take a look at that tonight. Let me actually throw that on the pile of things to look at. Oops, if I could spell multi correct. Multi-attacks can have index errors? Question mark. Okay. All right. So that's kind of where things are right now. I did fix, by the way, I guess I'll try to actually score some damage here attack the troll. Kick, stomp, hit, kick, attack, hit. I did set it up so that I fixed our color issue where if you damaged the troll and then you lost in combat, their colors would fill back in. That was just a logic issue that I had. It's not fully solved yet, just because there is still some weird indexing that happens occasionally, and like the far right L gets highlighted. So I'm still working on that problem. But that's kind of the basics of what I've done since Tuesday. So I'm going to go ahead and start by making a new class called combat item type, assuming I don't have one already. Let's find out. Okay, I don't have one called combat item type. That's good. I do have a combat item. That's something different. So, well, not different. That's actually what they are. So I guess I'll probably go ahead and do this. Oh, geez, that's going to suck because that's going to be outside of combat. Okay, for now, let's just group this with the rest of combat. All right, let's go ahead and create a new folder. Call this items. Create C# script. We're going to call this combat item type. I can't just use the basic item type because that kind of gets weird and it's not very specific. So I would need to have a specific enum for types regarding combat. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this in the text quest namespace .combat because this is for combat. Who knew with a name like that? We're going to make this an enum. All right. I feel like my text was zoomed out a little bit there. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. And so we want this to be basically none. If I could type none. Then what else do we need? I guess. So with combat item type, it's not just going to be weapons. It's also going to be things like special equipment. Think like the goat mask, or maybe even the lantern. Ooh, actually, the lantern kind of would be necessary, wouldn't it? So I guess I'll just classify those as equipment. Generally, it's not a very great name. We'll call that equipment. Then we'll have weapon. Okay, apparently something's going on. Weapon, we'll say blade. Yeah, that's probably fine. 10. Weapon blunt is equal to 15. And before I forget, because I'm paranoid, needed to make sure that my stream did have audio. So weapon blade, weapon blunt. We'll do weapon magic, I guess. Okay. And those are pretty much all I can think of that I'll need. Equipment is kind of just the catch-all class for non-weapon types. So essentially that would be things like your lantern, your wizard cap, any sort of clothing or equipment you can wear that's not specifically a weapon. Okay, so for this, I'm actually really torn for this equipment stuff. I wonder if I should break that out even further. No, it's probably fine. Bladed we'll just say weapon types. Or weapon types. Okay. So pretty basic stuff there. Get rid of that. Okay. And we'll go ahead and close you, then reopen you because you probably... Oh, look, it doesn't actually have any different line endings. That's nice. That very rarely happens. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and jump over to combat equipment data. I'm sorry, combat item. There we go. Let's go to definition. And so I added this before the stream today. I'm going to say public. Problem is that it's not in the same namespace, which is not great. So for now, I guess I'm going to go ahead and say using sleepyowl.textquest.combat. We will end up moving this into the other namespace later, but for now it's being referenced by non-combat namespaces. So we'll go ahead and call this combat equipment. Ooh. Oh, that's right. It's combat item type. Interesting. Combat item. There we go. I just spelled it wrong. Call this type. None. Let's go ahead and tooltip that. The what do I want to call it? Or what do I want to have for my tooltip here? I guess just the type of item. That's so dumb. I guess I don't really have a good description for that. It's the type of the item. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's go ahead and I guess we'll close that. That's probably fine. Let that load. And let's take a look at our actual collection of items, which is here, I believe. It's somewhere here. There it is. I will probably move that to the data folder. Or actually to the test folder, because this is well, no, I guess that's not actually. It should probably go in the data folder. Oh. Alright, let's see. Sword. I'm going to tank this down to 2 for now because I don't actually have the sword set up. So this is our equip point, and our scepter is here. So I actually need to change this. This is going to be blunt. Okay, so the main difference that the type will basically, well, so the thing that the type is going to affect is going to be the equip and unequip animations. It will also change how the final multi-attack phase is displayed. So, for example, let's go ahead and jump into the troll fight right now. Obviously, I don't have any items, but with no items equipped, you'll get the default melee, which is just a bunch of random placement and a bunch of words. Pretty straightforward, but let's go ahead and attack the troll. So you can see that these are just kind of like randomly spaced, not really that great. Oops, can't spell. So it's fine, but nothing really too exciting there. With blunt, that will change. Instead of being randomly spaced, they will have some amount of randomization, but they'll start at the top of the screen and then sort of fall down slowly. And the idea is that you're going to be crushing your enemy because it's blunt. So you got to type them as they fall. The blade one is one that's a little bit more straightforward. It's essentially like a rotating wheel of words, and you have to type them one by one in order to cause damage. These are basically just slight differences, but it's a way to help emphasize that having different items equipped will give you different options and will have slightly different mechanics. Not necessarily whole cloth different mechanics, but a slight difference. Enough to add some good flavor. So we need to add support for that, which means we actually need to drop in a scepter here. So let's go ahead and grab the scepter, which I believe is here. Yes. So we're going to put this in there. We'll probably... Okay. Bit of lag. Don't know what happened there. Let's go ahead and move this over to here-ish. And I think right now, actually, the combat system won't even pay attention to the item that you have equipped. So we're going to have to add support for that. And then we'll need to decide how to handle all of the equip animations, which will probably actually not be timeline scripts, but rather animations on the player. So let's go ahead and say take, hold scepter. Okay, so if I go into combat now, yeah, it's not going to actually show up. I am curious to know if it thinks that I have it equipped, though. So let's go ahead and go to battle. can tell by, okay, so no, it totally does not. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop playing. We'll jump back into the test scene there. Let's go ahead and collapse some of this because we don't really need it. Get rid of you. Okay, so we're going to go to in combat test. Take a look at our combat systems here. And we want to go to phase 2 direct combat, I believe. So this is doing the multiple attack types, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so essentially what this should do when it does multiple, oh, right. Hold on, let's jump over to our attack section behavior. And on behavior play, except it's actually going to be on behavior prepare frame. All right, so what we do is essentially we grab a random word from the combat system. If I can remember where this is, I'm just going to go jump over to the combat system because I have a public reference to this. All the way up here. All right, so here we are. Oh, not you. Find all references. There should be a reference. Interesting. I guess I would do this then. Here we are. So this is where our attack messages come in, and this is on behavior play. We basically set the list of possible words that we're going to use, and then we iterate through them when we're spawning our attacks. And we get that information from our combat systems equipment data class, which is just this. You know, it's a pretty basic collection. We have our list of words that we can use, well, so basically all that's set up, but we need to pay attention to what's actually equipped by the player, which currently our combat system is not doing. So that's going to be fun because it means not on start, but when we start combat, we need to make sure that we have player equipment set up, which is what our commented out code here is doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of all of this fun stuff. We're not going to worry about current player info because that's from the old scripts. Player combat info, clothing info, combat data, get player combat info, get inventory, clothing ID. Woof. Right. So if I remember correctly, this is the old combat info class, which we're not really going to use anymore because it just had a lot of information in there that I don't think is particularly valuable. But to give you a sense of what that actually is, let's go up to here. We should have combat data. It's very similar to what we have currently. Oh, well, thank you for the host. I want to say Surmre. I've mispronounced your name in the past, and now I feel terrible again. Well, either way, thank you for the host. So you can see that this shares some similar information to our current system. You know, it has messages, so what it actually should use for your attacks. It tells you what the ID is, what the hint is, and all that. But we don't really need any of this information anymore, so we move to a much more lean approach, which is this. So we essentially are going to be doing the same thing. It's just that instead of retrieving this from the global game object, or the global game manager, which we no longer will really need to have reference combat data anymore, which is nice. We're just going to grab it from our system itself. And actually, I want to check. Yeah. This is all stuff that might still need to be referenced at some time, but I'll probably break this out. Because most of this, again, doesn't really need to be used. Actually, I would even argue that none of this needs to be used. Okay, so yeah, that doesn't really, outside of that, I guess, name known. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back over to here. So that's all fine. We are going to change combat system. Let's close you. All right. So for this, we essentially don't want to search through our game manager anymore. We want to grab that information from our actual equipment data that we're referencing. So let's go over to this. And we have an item ID. Okay, so let's go ahead. I keep jumping around. It's confusing me. Okay, so instead of grabbing all of this, which is kind of not really that relevant, we are going to, let's see, current player info. I'm guessing that was me storing that information before. Hello, Dusted Ham. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? Also, this was like the first day that I got home, and I checked Discord pretty early on to see if you were streaming, and you were not streaming. I'm very disappointed. That was like the first day that I thought to do it, because it always just escapes me. It happens. Okay. But at least you're doing well, so you know that's good. So we need to change this from this line. Let's go ahead and just comment pretty much everything out. Well, we'll just do this. Wow, I can't type at all today. I can't even use arrow keys. That's how bad it is, apparently. So I'm just going to comment these lines out. Keep them as a reference so I have an idea of what I was doing before, but it's not actually necessary because we're going to be doing a much more lean execution of what we were doing before. It was just a mess before. Got some things I need to think about. Existential dread. Yeah, that does tend to slow down the dev streams. Am I doing so-so? I didn't get as much done last night as I was hoping. I did fix, some of the more frustrating parts of combat, but I didn't get nearly as much done as I should have. So I'm doing okay, so-so. So for this, basically what we're doing here is we're checking if the player has anything equipped, if the player is wearing anything, and if the player has any accessory equipped. Because there are you can basically have 3 things equipped at any given time as long as they don't contradict each other, or as long as they don't overlap with each other. So you can wear a hat, you can hold a lantern, and you can wear a ring, for example. But you can't wear 2 hats because, come on, that's clearly out of everything in this game. That would just be too much, just too ridiculous. Game dev choices to make. Yeah, I figured it was actually just game dev decisions. Or sometimes when I'm making game dev decisions, I make terrible existential truisms, or at least think about them. Okay, so back to what I've been saying. Okay, about for the past 5 minutes probably. We need to actually get our equipment information. So we need a way of storing that. Which I guess I have my head item, held item, and I don't have one for my accessory for now, and that's fine, because accessory is still kind of a weird thing, and I don't actually know if I'm going to keep it. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to say equipment data dot get equipment data, and then I guess I kind of feel like I shouldn't keep getting this, and I should actually just, cache it. So I'm probably going to do that. Over to here, and we're just going to say private inventory cached inventory. Let's see here. Come down to here. I'm just going to say protected inventory cached inventory, or get return cached inventory question mark cached inventory else cached inventory is equal to that. Aha! What is real, indeed. But do you really want to know the answer? Oh, blowing your mind on this Devstream, aren't I? Alright, so we're going to actually change this to cached inventory, just so that shortens my coding a little bit. And we'll say cached inventory dot equipment ID. And that's basically just the ID of whatever I have equipped. If it is nothing, then it just returns none. So we're going to go ahead and say combat equipment data is equal to this. Okay. So once we have that, we'll be able to retrieve things like, what it is. Mainly the ID is the most important part. But then we'll need to spawn the prefab and properly parent it. So let's see. Here it is, refresh equipment. Let's go ahead and uncomment that, which I'm sure will throw an error because it probably doesn't exist. And then we will make that actually be a thing that does exist. Okay, so we're going to move to, is that protected? It is, okay. And we are also going to need to, of course, handle these in a little bit, which is going to be fun. So the wonderful thing about combat that makes it so super wonderful, funderful to work on is I need to support going into combat with items already equipped, as well as equipping them inside of combat. And again, that's another one of those things that will change, that will affect the overworld or be affected by the overworld. If you go into combat while you have a sword equipped, then you should be using the sword inside of combat. If you go into combat with nothing equipped and then you equip the sword, when you end combat, you should be holding the sword when you leave. It's just a nice little bit of consistency. So let's go ahead and I don't think I want, well, maybe it's fine to make it public. Let's go ahead and put that here, I guess. So we'll say public. I don't think I need to make it virtual. I will make it virtual for now, just in case. I really don't think I'm, you know what? No, it doesn't need to be virtual. It can just be void. Refresh. Crap. It was a refresh equipment, I think. Recruitment, because I can't spell. Aha! It was refresh equipment. Okay. And for now, that's not going to do anything. We're going to take care of that in a second. Let's go ahead and we're going to say if data does not equal null, oops, then we essentially need to set that. I wonder if it would be good for, so is head item and held item are protected. Perhaps I should make these combat data instead, or combat equipment data. So we would change this from head item to combat equipment data. Let's go ahead and set that to be nothing, and then nothing as well. And let's go ahead and rename this to be data. Name data. All right. And we're going to come down to here. Yep, because you're not going to work, and we're just going to say is equal, not equal to null, question mark. And if that's the case, then we are going to do head item data dot ID. Otherwise, we're going to do item ID dot none. Pretty straightforward. Pretty much going to do the exact same thing down here, just with that. All right. Let's see. Get head item data. Well, that seems rather pointless. I guess it's not pointless. It's just, I guess it's just going to retrieve that. So, real quick, find all references. Do I do a null check here? No, and that's probably fine because it's going to return the default, isn't it? Okay, so basically all I need to do here is just return head item data versus held item data. Pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead, and we're not even going to declare this as a new variable. We're just straight up going to say, you know what? That's really brutal. I guess we'll say held item data is equal to that. So this, I don't think, has a default. Oh, no, it does. It returns null. Okay, that's good. That's good. And that's actually pretty good, except we run into the, oh, the really awkward problem of uh, if nothing is no, you know what? That's fine. So basically, what's going to always happen is if I don't have anything equipped, it's going to return the default value, which is this. Um, and that's probably fine if that's read as if that's set to be the data for all of your current equipped items. Because really the only one that matters in that regard is the one that you have in your hand. That gets a little awkward. Hello, cool. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? Besides obviously being smelly, because, you know. I read that as, hey, and then parentheses, I am smelly. So, you know, that's how I read those sorts of things, just so you're aware. Although I will say before I do my dev streams, I close my windows so that the outside world is not as intrusive on my streams, and that, holy crap, that just stops all of the airflow, so I'm starting to, like, die because of stagnant air in 80-degree weather. Well, fortunately, I have a whole bottle of cold water, so hopefully that will stave off the heat exhaustion until the dev stream's over. Where do I live? I live in Indiana, so it's not like this is 100-degree temperatures. It's just that it's humid right now because it rained today. So humidity plus any temperature over 60 degrees for me is death. Fortunately, the inside of my house is not really that humid in and of itself, but stagnant air is also a thing that kills me a lot. So, yeah, usually raw temperature isn't the thing that gets me. It's like lack of movement in the air or humidity. Like 2% humidity in 70-degree weather will just cause me to die. No air conditioner. I mean, I do have central air. I'm just cheap, so I try not to use it very much. Because, you know, I'm cheap. Decided to explore the horrible world of dynamic rendering in Unity. I ran and cried. I have actually been meaning to give that a shot recently. A lot of people have been talking about it, and dynamic resolution seems to be the big new thing. Well, not really the big new thing, but like a big semi-new thing that's kind of cool to mess around with. Anyway, I really need to... Oh, see, that's... Okay. So we're not going to worry about clothing at all, or accessory yet. We're just gonna handle equipment for now. So with refresh equipment, we have a couple of things that we need to do. One is we need to come up to here, and I need to set. Let's see. Head item data, held item data. We are going to. I guess actually that's probably something I should take care of. No, it's fine for now. We're just going to assume that it's that. So I want to have, I guess right about here. No, probably here. We're going to have protected combat item, equipment item, protected combat item, clothing item, protected combat item. We're not going to worry about accessories because again, those are tenuous right now. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm mostly I'm a cheap person. That's why I bike to work, not because I'm, conscious of the environment and green and all of that. No, it's because I'm too cheap to pay for gas. So, plus, it's a nice way to get some amount of exercise in. I was only trying to make paint splatters for my game, watched an hour-long video guide, just trying to render a plane. Woof. Yeah. I mean, it seems like dynamic resolutions are a really interesting idea, but I don't know, it seems like the challenges to get it to work are pretty steep from what I've seen. And admittedly, I haven't really looked too much into it. I've only kind of like very briefly skimmed the surface of it. Okay, so we have our combat items references there. Those are going to be null by default, obviously. But going to say refresh equipment. If equipment item, oops, if equipment item does not equal null, we're going to do something, and then we're going to say if held item data dot id does not equal item id dot none. We're going to do all this stuff. So if equipment item does not equal null and equipment item dot. Ooh, that's awkward, isn't it? Okay, so I'm actually going to jump over to. Okay, I apparently don't have it already open. I thought I did, but I do not. Let's go over here, peek this. I need to grab my combat item script. Go to definition. So I probably want this to be have an ID. So public item ID is equal to item, ID dot none. Okay. So the way that's currently handled, the actual combat equipment data class has that, but it probably should have a reference to the prefabs ID, and that's where this is going to be. This is something I was thinking about before the Devstream. By the way, we're probably going to take another diatribe into some editor tooling, but I think I'm going to try to make an attribute to basically allow me to target an object references specific field so that we can serialize that and change that in other editors. So that'll be fun for us to mess with. We're not going to do that yet, but that's going to be something I'm going to try to do later tonight. Okay, so we're going to say and equipment item dot ID does not equal held item. Okay, pretty straightforward. And that's basically just saying if they're not the same, then I want to recycle that object. Oh, jeez. Do I want to recycle it or do I want to play an animation? We'll to do that for now. To do get rid of equipped item. So let me try and already read that. Okay, so if our held item data ID is not equal to none, which actually I guess I can just shorten that to this held item. Then let's see. Actually, I guess we'll say else if. What check am I specifically trying to do here? I guess basically I'm going to say if equipped item is equal to null. Equippment item is equal to null. Held item does not equal none, then we need to spawn it. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and just spawn it into existence and position it. So we'll say equipment item is equal to pool manager dot request. This is going to be our held item data dot, what did I call it? Prefab. There we go. And this is where it's going to get fun. We want to position it at our hand position, which I think is going to be player dot, I guess, set head item. Hold on. Let's see if this function takes a prefab. It does not. Okay. So we want this to, so we need to spawn it and then I got to set it. So I guess we'll just do this. And then we'll say player dot set held item equipment item Okay. And oh, that really sucks. Geez, because this isn't going to properly position it, which is not great. It's just going to spawn it right at the transform that it's supposed to be parented to, but it's not going to it's not going to actually give it the proper offset, which is not great. Okay. So I guess I need to actually change this. Let's go to definition. It's fine. And combat item does not have information about its offsets. Does it make sense for us to move all of that information out? Not really. Let's just pass in combat equipment data to these functions instead of the actual combat items. I think that'll be better overall. So let's go over here, go to definition. So instead of this, it's going to take combat equipment data. Oh, that really sucks, though, because that would be the player being responsible for recycling them. Okay, let me think. Can I do that? Do I want to do that? Oh my goodness. Fine, we'll do that. So this is going to be combat equipment data. And basically what we're going to do is instead of item, we're going to say held item is equal to pool manager. Ooh, really? Not using common? I'm not using sleepyhowl.common. So we're going to say is equal to pool manager. Pool manager, of course not. Pool manager dot request item dot prefab. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then we're going to say held item dot transform dot set parent. Pretty straightforward there. I should probably cache that. So, oh no, never mind. Haha, it's already cached. And then we're going to go ahead and say held item dot transform dot set. It'd be really, really, really cool if I could do set position and rotation for local stuff, but sadly I can't. So I have to do local position is equal to item dot offset, which probably, oh dear, that's not going to be great. Oh boy. Yep. Okay. I think I want to invert the X value if it's left-handed. Oh, that really sucks. Okay. So I'm actually going to go ahead and go to this definition real quick, and I'm just going to add some... Oh god, the rotation has to be different too. Oh, that sucks so hard. Okay. Not looking good there. Well, for now, I'm going to go ahead and say public vector3 offset get. Oops. Come on. We're going to say if session dot, I guess it's right-handed. We're going to do something. Otherwise, we will return. This is going to be awkward. New vector3 negative offset dot x offset dot y offset dot z. Okay. Otherwise, we'll just return offset. Okay. So now I can come over to here and just say item.offset instead of all that. I'm not going to worry about rotation right now, honestly. And then that's all I really need to do. So let's come back over to our combat system. And instead of this, we're not even going to worry about that. We're just going to straight up say held item data, I guess. And I guess that really means... Oh, geez, I need to handle this if it's no. To do handle item id dot none. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so I think with the way it's currently set up, at the very least, we should get our staff spawning. So if we come into combat now with the staff equipped, it should actually have the staff equipped on the player character in combat. I think. We will find out. And once that's working, we're going to do our little editor script real quick. Because I love going off on editor script tangents. Oh, crap. Of course, I started in the wrong scene. Out of combat test. Right. Yay! It worked. Although it... No, I think it put it on the right side. So it's really confusing because you'd think that if the hero was facing you, this would actually be his left hand. Or her left hand, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's positioned to the right, so I think that's what I gave it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell which should be right and which should be left, honestly. I just chose to use the side that corresponds to the direction. So cool. That works, which I think might mean that our multi-attack will be different. Yay, it does. Cool. So that's a thing. I suck at typing, apparently. Okay. So that's working. I am going to change some of... I'm not going to change. So I'm going to add a new attribute that will basically let me serialize individual fields and have them match a specific object's field. So that's going to be interesting. Mostly because I think this will help me in situations like this where I have the ID here, and I probably won't need to really change it, but it'll be nice to be able to see it and not have this actually be here, technically. It would just be referencing whatever the prefab is. So let's go ahead and we're going to say, go to common, let's go to attributes, create folder. I guess I'll put this as serialization. It's not, I can't call it editor, so let's go ahead and create a folder. I'll call this mirror field. I don't know what else to call it. That sounds cool, so I'm going to call it a mirror field. Let's go ahead and create a new C# script. We'll call this mirror field attribute. All right. Come on. All right. So this is going to be a property attribute. We're going to say public mirror field attribute. So public read only string. I guess we'll call this target object, target field. Then public read only string. So I guess target field is a bit of a misnomer. There should be like target object. No, target reference. Object is probably the better way to go. Target object versus target field. Let's go ahead and do that. The field on the target object to mirror the target object reference to mirror a field from. Okay, and then from there we have one more thing, which is going to be public bool read only bool, I guess. This is basically going to be the bool that determines if you can edit it or not. So I guess editable, because why not, is equal to true by default. So let's see. If true, can edit the mirror field and affect the original object. Okay. So that's going to take two strings and a bool. So we're going to say string target object string target field bool editable is equal to true by default. We're just going to say this dot target object, not target field, target object is equal to target object. This dot target field is equal to target field, and then this dot editable is equal to editable. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and do this. Close you, close that, come back here, and let's go ahead and just open that again because I know it's going to have that problem. Come back down to here. And now I need to open my editor folder. Editor, attributes, create folder, serialization, and mirror field is what I called it. Create folder, mirror field. I just know it's going to compile soon, so I won't be able to do anything. Aha! That's why I was waiting. Okay, convenient time to take a drink. All right, let's go ahead and right-click, create, C# script. Call this mirror field attribute drawer. Okay. Let's get this opened up, which will happen eventually. There we go. Using sleepyowl.common, using Unity engine, or not engine, editor, common editor, property drawer, custom property drawer, type of, oh, this is going to suck, maybe, maybe not, it might suck, okay. So there's going to be a custom property drawer, type of mirror field attribute. Okay, let's go ahead and override get property height. We're going to have to do both of those. So override on GUI, and then we're going to get some fun stuff. So first up, let's go ahead and create our attributes. So mirror field attribute, attr, private mirror field attribute, attr, get return, attr does not equal null, question mark, attr, else attr is equal to attribute as mirror field attribute. Okay, pretty straightforward there. So the real trick here is going to be I need to grab a sibling serialized property, and then I need to serialize that as, or serialize its reference as an object, a serialized object, and then grab a property from it. Okay, we can do this. Actually, that doesn't sound too bad now that I think about it. So we're just going to go ahead and say private serialized object, or not object, property, get, you know, I wonder if I should just do this, get target property, and then that's going to take a serialized property itself, property, okay. So from here, we're essentially going to say serialized object obj is equal to new serialized object. Okay, yeah. Okay, I got you. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. So serialized property object property is equal to property dot get sibling. I thought I had a. Huh. Oh, I guess that's probably not in my personal code base. It's at work. Dang it. Okay, I had written a convenience function for this, but I guess I don't get to do that right now. So we're essentially going to have to say um, find property relative. Do I really not have that? Trying to think of situations where I might, but nope. Okay. So I need to find property relative. That's actually not what I want. I have to do this. This is a very bad solution because it's not actually one that I know works. Well, I mean, it does work, but only in very specific cases. The situation or the code base that I'm thinking of right now is more flexible, but I don't have it on my computer. It's at work, which is annoying. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but this will essentially work. We're going to grab the root serialized object of this, and then we'll say .find property. It's really not ideal, but it'll work. And that's going to be attr.target object. So that will get us the field, the serialized property for our object reference. Once we have that, we can say if object property dot object reference ID value does not equal 0, so if it has a reference, otherwise we're just going to return null. Which is funny because of course it's going to complain still. There. Let's go ahead and graph this whole thing. We're going to need this, and if it's not null, we're going to say obj is equal to object property dot object reference value. So that'll make us a new serialized object, and from that we can say obj dot find property attr dot target field. So we'll be able to say return this. Okay. So with that, I can, one, get rid of you, and two, we're going to say basically, oh, it's going to suck so hard, serialized property target property is equal to get target property. Okay, and we'll say if target property does not equal null, I think I need to redesign a huge chunk of my game. Why is that? So if target property is not equal to null, then that means that we found it, and therefore it's an actual target or an actual property. So we're going to return editor GUI dot get property height. Yep, there we go. Target property. So that should let it properly display regardless of whatever property it is. Otherwise, we'll just return the base property height. Pretty simple. So we're just going to steal this again, paste this in on GUI, and we're just going to say if target property is not equal to null, then we're going to do something. Otherwise, we will say editor GUI dot help box based on position with a message and a message type dot warning. Okay. Target field not found on target object reference. Okay, let's go ahead and do a string.format. It's not really viable to craft levels the way I have it set up right now. I did the quick and dirty way to get things rolling, and now I'm paying for it. Yeah, that's how it goes. Target field 0, not found on target. 1 object reference, so that's going to be attr dot target field followed by attr dot target object. Okay. Then what we want to do is if target property is not equal to null, we essentially want to properly take care of it. So we're going to say bool cached GUI is equal to GUI dot enabled, and then we're going to say if attr dot editable, then GUI dot enable is equal to false. We're going to say if not that, and pretty much the same thing right here, except we're going to say is equal to cached GUI. Okay, otherwise we're going to say editor GUI layout, not sorry, GUI.property field, position, property, true. Okay. Pretty straightforward, I want to say. Oh, and actually, I should probably go ahead and say, oh, that sucks so hard. Hold on. I actually want to do something else here. I want to say if target property dot type does not equal property dot type, then we're doing else. We'll do this. Okay. And then I want to do pretty much the same thing here. Just as that. Except instead of returning something, it's going to return nothing. And we will, again, use our help box. Okay. You can use the string interpolation instead of string.format. Yeah, I'm still using .NET 3.5 because it's stable. 4.6 or whatever is technically experimental right now. So I'm holding off on that for now. But yeah, I do actually want to experiment more with the .NET 4.5 or whatever it's up to now, just because it does have those nice quality of life improvements, like the question mark verification for events or callbacks, I guess. Okay, so we're going to say target field does not match type of field type. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and say field 0 does not match target field type. Okay, so that's going to be, let's get rid of you. So this is going to be son of a, I got to move this up. So we're going to say property dot display name. I guess I can just do name. Yeah, that's probably what I want. And then we're going to say target property dot type. I can't live without the new feature set. Yeah, that's true for all conveniences once they start happening. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So I think this will work. Pretty confident in this. I guess to test, let's go over to our combat equipment data, and I'm going to mark this ID as. Am I using Cotton? Here I am. So we'll say mirror field. This is going to be super cool if it works right off the bat. Target object is going to be called prefab. Target field is going to just be called ID. And editable, we'll keep it as true for now. I really, really want that to work in one go. That would be so cool. Inline null checks are constant. Yeah. Although it's funny because the new features kind of make it feel a lot more like languages like PHP and Swift, which I really hate those languages because they're so forgiving. Like obviously the downside to earlier versions of .NET is that they're much more verbose, but in being so verbose, it's very explicit about what you're doing. So saying like callback does not equal null is immediately obvious to most programmers of any level that it's saying is it null, but callback question mark and then dot invoke just makes them basically be like So it's one of those weird catches where it's more convenient as you go along, but then it becomes more and more dependent on knowledge or on experience to understand what's going on because it's much less verbose. Okay, so all that stuff. Obviously, this is going to work in one go because I've never made a mistake ever, and it worked so well it broke everything. Man, sometimes I really impress me. That's sad. Okay. Right. Yeah. That sucks. So I'm gonna have to hand code that. Of course I am. Okay. Yep. Well, good news. We're going to recreate what I've already written in the past to get sibling properties. Do I really not have that? Oh, that sucks so hard. Fine. I do have a serialized property extensions, at least. Oh, that's right, because I recently added that. Well, all right. Time to make this work. Yeah, throwing the question mark in. Yeah, it kind of. It's obviously. I was gonna. So it clutters your code, but it's obviously less clutter than doing manual checks and all that. But there's just something nice about having explicit coding practices. So let's go ahead and get rid of you. Okay, so we're gonna come up to here. I'm gonna make a new public static serialized property. Get sibling property. This serialized property, and then string target property. Target name, I guess is what I'll call that. All right, so we're gonna say, this is gonna be fun. Hold on. Bool is root. Let's just go ahead and call this path. False. Okay. So we're going to say if is root. We're going to do something else. We're going to actually change our path because we need to. I typically only use them on events. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's just weird to see all the like safety null checks as question marks. Actually, a fun fact about Unity: for a while, you know how getters can do stuff like this. Oh, geez, hold on. You can do like, geo question mark geo else geo is equal to new game object, whatever. So this is a single check basically, but you can actually shorten this to just this. Or am I doing that wrong? Wait, left-hand side of it must be a variable. Wait, that's not right. Hold on. I was just doing this before the... Oh, I erased it. Of course I did. Well, that's disappointing. Anyway, there's a double question mark validation that you can do to basically say if it's null or not. But I'm guessing that it's just because of this. There we go. Yeah, that was the problem. It's because it was doing the whole parens thing, and that's why I almost always wrap my stuff with parens, because otherwise it's untrustworthy. But yeah, so this is basically a double validation. This just checks if this object exists, it will return it. It's like a shorter version of this. But with Unity, for the longest time, I don't think it's a problem anymore, but for the longest time, this could occasionally throw C++ errors. So you just, like, I never picked it up. Because when I started coding in Unity, it was like a huge gamble that it would work. So I never used it, even though it's slightly shorter. And that's kind of been my philosophy with code, is that brevity is no excuse for instability or incoherence. So I typically will err on this. I'll typically err on the side of verbosity. I'm just using all the big words today, for the sake of being understandable. So anyway, so what we're gonna do here. So if is root, then we don't really need to do anything here. We're going to go ahead and say serialized. Nope, not, stop that. Oh my god. Twice now you've shown up. Serialized property. Target property is equal to null. So if this is root, then we're just going to say target property is equal to property.serializedObject.find path. Okay, pretty straightforward. Otherwise, we are going to do this, which is path is equal to path.substring path. Oh, sorry. 0 path.lastIndex of period, and then I believe I want to say +1 or not. Actually, I think I want to do that. Plus. Oh, did that wrong. Sorry. So actually, what I want to do is say. I mean, that's actually kind of correct, but we're going to change this to property.path.substring property.property.path again plus path. Okay, pretty straightforward, and that's only going to happen if property.path.contain, or I guess contains is probably fine. Oh, that's right, it's a string. I wonder if it would be. I actually don't know what's faster, contains or index of. Index of dot is greater than 0. And we're going to do this. Okay, I can probably actually shorten that to that. Yeah, there we go. Probably, I don't think I need to do anything else. Right? Yes. Pretty sure on that. Okay. Yes, that's all I need to do. Okay. So, what this is essentially doing is to get the sibling property. If that property has a period in it, it means that it's a nested property of a serialized object, because the serialized object is basically like the root object that's being edited or serialized. So if you have a class with subfields in it, then the path would essentially be the variable name for that class and then the variable name for the field that you're targeting after a period. And that's what this is essentially doing. It's basically grabbing that path and splicing the path that you want onto it. And then we're just going to say serialized property, target property is equal to property.serializedObject.findProperty path. That should give me everything that I want. So I just want to go ahead and do I just want to do this then? Return target property. If that's the case, then I don't really need to do this whole thing. We'll say if not is root and okay. That should work, I believe. So let's go ahead and come back to here, and we're going to mark this. Well, I don't need to mark it at all. That should work, but I do need to come over to here. And we're going to say, instead of find property, we're going to say get sibling property. Hold on. It's equal to property dot get sibling property attr dot target object. Okay. And then that should be fine. So let's go ahead and let that go. And for the sake of argument, I'm going to go ahead and debug this. Hold on. Property dot path plus this. Okay. So we'll be able to see what both of those paths are. I don't remember if I need to have a +1 index on the dot or not. I don't think I do. It's entirely possible that I do. I do so love that I, like less than 30 minutes into the dev stream, I already knew it's like, oh, we're going to do some editor scripting today. Because we always end up doing editor scripting. It's just one of my favorite things to do, I guess. Clear you, and again, let's succeed so hard that it causes it to just break the inspector. I love it. Love it so much. Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, I do need the dot. Cool, cool, cool. So we got to go to whoop, right there. Cool. I thought we needed the +1, but I always forget. So let that compile, and then it should work flawlessly, like the past couple of times that I've tried. Not great at editor scripts. Working on right now with the help of Google. So editor scripts are super weird when you're first learning them, but then once you learn how they work, they're basically black magic. But once you figure out how they work, they're amazing. Like I love doing editor scripting now, just because you can do so many weird things with them. So close. Okay. Dang it. So this is where it gets frustrating because I still am trying to do this thing. So to give you a sense of, well, for one, keep in mind that this is working. It's just that it's not drawing the property field. And this is something that I actually am trying to do at work now. Figure out how to force Unity to draw property fields. But I don't know how to do that yet. There is a theory that I have, but I haven't tried it yet. So that won't work. That's deeply disappointing. There's not much I can really do about that. So basically, if I was trying to draw a regular field of some kind, this would actually work out pretty dang well. But the problem is that I'm trying to draw something that has a custom property drawer, which just does not work. I have no idea why it doesn't work, because I'm calling, where is it? As you can see here, I'm literally just calling property field, which normally works. Normally calling editor GUI.property field will get it to draw whatever it needs to draw. But the problem is that when it comes to custom property drawers, for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, they don't work in custom GUI scripts. They work in editor scripts, but they don't work in on GUI scripts like this. And it drives me insane. I really wish I knew why it did that. So I wonder, oh God, oh, could that work? Oh, that might work. Okay. Okay, I might have an idea. So I could change the attribute to have this. Oh, I can't do that. No! Dang it! I was going to try to pass in the property drawer, but the problem is that's an editor script. And since this is an attribute that has to be working at runtime, I can't do that. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that sucks so hard. Okay. Okay, I just want to know if it'll work. So this is going to be interesting. Yeah, this is going to really suck, but we're going to do this for now. So right now, basically what I'm about to do is going to make the code, it'll compile, but it won't be possible to make a build, but that's fine because I just want to test it to see if it works. Pass it an object and null check it. So well, the problem is I don't know what to do to use reflection, because the way, so Unity has something sort of that they use to do this. If you look at their post-process scripts, what they basically do, and it might actually be the best way to do this, even though it sucks. They basically loop through all of their classes on start and grab all of the specific property drawers that they need, and then they can just reference those by type. It's horrendous, but technically seems to work for them. So in any case, I'm going to go ahead and say using Unity Editor. This is not a permanent solution. I just want to know if this will work. Property tDrawer is equal to null. I don't think this will work, but I want to give it a try. So public read only property drawer. I don't even think I can get that. No, that sucks. Nope. Can't think of how I would pass that. Dang it. Well, yeah, and I mean, reflection is... The problem is, like, I don't know how to retrieve a property drawer from its attribute. Like, I don't know how to actually grab a property drawer without being told that it exists. Like, I'm not even sure if I passed it in, I could actually draw it properly. The idea would be that I would basically do... let's see, where are you? I'd basically do this. I would basically call on GUI and pass it in the correct information. But the problem is I don't know how to grab that. I don't know how to get this drawer. Because I think I can create editors, but I can't create property drawers. I'm pretty sure I can't. Nope. I might be able to do... Oh, God. Yeah, actually, speaking of tagging, I could pass that in via string. Oh, boy, this is going to get messy. Okay, let's try this. Oh, ooh, this is going to be gross. So we're going to get rid of the editor stuff. Get rid of you. We're going to make this a string. We'll call this drawer type. And that's not going to be equal to null. It's going to be equal to nothing. And we'll say public read only string drawer type is equal to nothing. This dot drawer type is equal to drawer type. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's come up to here. Oh boy, this is going to suck. So we're going to use reflection here. Using system dot reflection. I'm also going to be using system. Because this is something that I've started messing with at work, but I haven't actually done this before. So we're going to create, what is it? Is it attribute? It starts with an A. There's a lot of things that start with an A. Okay, so let's see. Activator, I believe, is what I want. Okay. To create instance, I believe, is also what I want. And this is where it's going to be fun. Yep. Okay. So I need to do this. Type drawer type is equal to type dot get type attr dot drawer type. Okay. So a couple of things. First up, let's go ahead and say if attr dot drawer type. I know that's not quite working yet, but don't worry about it. Else. Okay. So we're going to make this not string dot is null or empty. Come up to here, go to there. Okay. Then we're going to get our drawer type. I will be so amazed if this works. So this is going to be our... wow. I straight up don't know what to do with this, so I can't really do that. Let me think. Let's see. You make an attribute, tag it, use reflection to find all the properties with that attribute. So the problem is that, like, that still doesn't handle retrieving or associating property drawers with properties. So what I'm trying to do is basically create a new property drawer at runtime, but I don't know how to cast it. That complicates things. I guess I could just do this, because it is going to be a property drawer of some kind. So we'll say drawer is equal to this. If this works, drawer dot on GUI position property label. I will just be amazed. I do not believe this will work. Because if it does, it just can't be that easy. Like, it has to be way harder. But yeah, that trying to figure out how to draw properties or have them persist across custom property drawers is really something that's like a holy grail for me. Ah, dang it! Nothing. Oh wait, no, it's because I didn't declare it. Right. Okay, timeout. Not quite as bad. I will have that be true. Okay, the drawer type. So I guess that's gonna be, I think it's item ID drawer, but I'll find out just to be sure. All the way. Item ID. Here we are. That is item ID property drawer. Okay. Okay, looks correct. Let's go ahead and save that, and let's try that again. I was going to say, well, at least it didn't break, but not breaking is not necessarily good. Well, not necessarily functioning. So, take a drink with that. What'll be really impressive if that works is the fact that it works, because I've never used that system dot whatever that class is to create stuff before. So, dang it! I knew it! I knew it couldn't be. It just could not be. How sad. Well, let's figure out what happened. Were you null when you tried to do it? Uh-oh. Oh, it was null? Oh, freak! Okay. Well, there's no reason for me to store that as a string. I guess I can just make it the actual type. So let's just do this. That'll be fine. We'll make this a system.type is equal to null. Come up to here. Okay, that's null. Okay, move it here. We'll say type of. Oh, except that totally does not work because I needed to make it a string because it was editor scripts. Well, that sucks. Okay. So I can't do that. Let's keep that for now. Come back to here. That's very disappointing. Okay, then we're going to go back to here. So, yeah, it needs its full name. But I can't expect people to do that because that sucks. So, crap baskets. What are we going to do here? So the fully quantified name is the really annoying long form name. So yes, it's for the editor, but the problem is like it still has to be used in runtime scripts. like this is a runtime script, which means that I can't give it an editor reference because it just won't work without a lot of excess effort on my part. So ideally, we'd be able to create it from that, but jeez, maybe I can. Nope, that will not work. Jeez. Thinking that maybe I could like pass in the assembly for the property drawer and grab it that way, but that won't work because it's actually an editor assembly that I would have to pass in, so I keep getting messed up by the editor stuff. Um, yeah, I had considered the compilation specific flags. I mostly want to see. This is mostly like a self-imposed challenge at this point. I want to see if I can get around it without doing that. Because if I can, it'll be really, really cool. But I'm not convinced that I can right now, which is really, 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 really sad. Okay, let me think. Can I? Is there a way for me to grab the type from just the name? That might work if they're in the same assembly. You have an idea? What idea do you have? Because I am kind of running through all of mine right now, and I can't think of any. So I need to do like type, get type. So this won't work because it's not enough information. Still need precompiler flags to get the strings, but make static class to store the strings. Ah, yeah, that would work. Basically have the... Yeah, that would work. I guess, actually, for a test case, just to see if it even works, the easiest thing to do, honestly, would just be to do this. Using sleepyowl.textquest. Oh, right. Those editor scripts are all in there, aren't they? Oh, no, they're not. Ugh. Dang it. Of course. Oh, that sucks so hard. Okay. My assembly definitions are throwing me off now. Ah! Okay. Well, fine. We're going to hard code this. Just because. Just because I can. So we're just going to do this. Is equal type of item. Oh, I can't do that either because this is in the mirror field. Dang it! Why must my life be pain? Okay. Dang it, that sucks so hard. Alright, fine. Fine. God, I'm so angry right now. This is just going to be way more trouble than it's worth. I have to like create a script inside of an assembly definition file that's an editor folder that's reference. Oh no, that's a cyclical reference. Oh no, that's not going to be possible. Ah! Sorry for all the loud groanings. So the property drawer script, it's not so much that it's in the namespace. Thank you, Jal. It's not so much that it's in the editor namespace, it's that I'm using assembly definition files, and the editor assembly definition file has to reference the non-editor assembly definition file for TextQuest, but that means that I can't have the TextQuest one reference the editor assembly definition file, because that would be cyclical references, which means that I can't really do it that way, and I can't really have... Okay, basically I'm stuck in like a weird position where all the assembly definition files are like preventing me from doing this now, easily. Oy. Oh, I apparently have an error? Really? That doesn't seem right. Oh. There. Yeah, that would do it. Goodness gracious me. So you know what would probably be the easiest thing for me to do is oh my god, this is gonna suck. There's no good way for me to grab that information. Ah. Okay. Screw it. We're gonna do this. Ah, this is gonna suck really, really, really hard. Okay, so this is gonna be I'm just gonna do this. This is gonna suck really hard. Type of item ID property drawer dot. So I think we need the full name. Is that correct? Or do we need the quantified name? Hello, Meandering Leaf. How are you doing tonight? Have you been on the stream before? I feel like you have. I could be wrong, though. I feel terrible now that I can't remember. I feel like I've seen your name before. Well, either way, welcome. Okay, so I'm just going to do this because, you know. There we go. So let's test this out. We'll come up to here. First up. So if it's just that, then that's actually not too bad. Let's give that a shot. Might have been a long time ago. I know you, though. No. Okay. Then yes. I think you have stopped by once a long time ago, Travis. Either way. Hello, Travis. How are you tonight? We're doing editor scripting on things that I've not done before, so fun. Okay. Oh, that's not the right thing to preview. And where's my scriptable object? Here. Dang it. Nope. Okay, so it needs its full quantifiable name, so let's go ahead and say dot qualified name. So we're just going to debug that, grab that, paste it in, and then we'll see if that works. Yeah, we're basically trying to do some sort of bargain with the devil to get crazy scripting or crazy editor stuff working. I've never done property drawers like this before, so this is... It's mostly just because Unity doesn't automatically draw property drawers, which is very, very annoying. So I have to manually figure out how to do it. Oh, right, that's not going to work yet. Let's go over here to SOS, text temp. Okay, so we got to copy this whole thing. Gross. Let's see if this even works. All right. Let's let that go. So now it should have the full quantifiable name, which means that it should be able to load it properly. Let's see. Well, while that's compiling, I'm going to take a drink. Because it is hot. And curse me for being too cheap to turn on my AC. Oh, yes! Please tell me that that worked. Yes! It worked! Yes! Eat it! Eat it, Unity! Yes! I figured out how to draw property drawers! Hey, Scorpio! You came in at a good time! I just figured out the dark arts. Of course, it's not perfect, but at least it works. So now I need to figure out a way to get that information, because unfortunately we do need this. That's so good, though. So we can get it if we can pass in a string like that, but that's obviously not an acceptable ease of use. Um, it's easy enough if you're a programmer and can figure that whole string out, but um, otherwise it's kind of not that useful. Um, I just need to generate the full names and put them in a dictionary. That's true. Ideally, though, I'd be able to figure out a way of manually. Well, I can't do that. I have to do associations. Because the problem with putting them in a dictionary is where would that dictionary go? I guess I could have a class that does initialize on load. Um, Also, thank you, Travis, for following. And I guess you're in a good mood today. I'm doing much better now because that's really, really cool. I figured out how to get property drawers to draw property drawers, and that's been my white whale for the past like week. So I'm really excited about that. Um, so the next step, though, would be getting it to. Also, I'm going to go ahead and change this to false. Make sure that works. We'll let that compile. Would ideally be getting this information. I guess we could set up an editor script. It would just suck because I think I would have to manually populate it. I could do some sort of initialize on load. You know, let's try that just to see what that workflow is like. It wouldn't necessarily be the best, but it would be functional, I guess. So let's go ahead, let that compile. And yes, nice! Oh, so exciting. Just so exciting. Also going to backspace that until it's correct again. The real question, though, is... Okay, so that is problematic because it's not actually changing it. Which I guess would mean I have to... Okay. Hold on. Let's go ahead and make this true again. Then I'm going to do a test because I do need to actually do that. So we need to come over here and this is... Oh, that sucks really hard. So if we're going to have it mirror on the serialized object, I basically need to force the serialized object to update and then apply changes immediately after. Oof. Okay. So for now, because otherwise it won't persist. So if I need to do something real quick, which is close all this crap. I need to load in my scene, which actually, now that I think about it, should be here. Okay, let's go ahead and add our item IDs here. Okay, so now I should be able to come up to here. So I'm going to make this say ring silver. Let's check our scepter object here. So this isn't changing yet, and that's because probably what's happening is it's not properly updating and applying changes to the target object. So we have it drawing, but we don't have it actually affecting it yet. So yeah, this seems to be serializing, but in a bad way. Okay. Is it? Well, no, I guess it is working. It's just not doing what I want. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's see. I'm sorry for making you unproductive, Dusted. So I will actually real quick change this. I'm going to make this we'll say locked sword for now. Then let's jump back to our actual. Where are you? You're somewhere around here. Well, it's not there. I hate having all my folders open like this. It makes it very confusing. Collapse you. Here. Okay. So this is serializing, which is unfortunate. It's basically not changing its value to match right now. So it's not actually mirroring. It's simply using the property drawer of the target to draw the existing property. So I think I actually want this to be target property now that I think about it. Maybe that will work? That would be pretty cool. So let's see. Oh, by the way, sorry, Scorpio, I forgot to ask. How are you doing tonight? Sorry, you came in like right when I was shouting and being excited, so I forgot to be polite. Um, Hopefully you're doing fine. Okay, so let us compile eventually, and there we are. So now I should be able to change this. Royal Sun, nope. Okay, so that won't actually change its value. It will simply render it. So I think what I need to do to get this to actually work as expected is I need to get the serialized object. Okay, so if that's the case, oof. Target property, I guess, would be what I want to do there as well. Um, Favorite thing about programming is anything is possible. It's just about how much work you're willing to do to make it happen. Yep, that's pretty much true. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to grab the serialized object for the target property. So I essentially need to do serialized object target object is equal to target property dot serialized object. And then I have to do this, and I'm not really crazy about doing this, but it should be fine. We're just going to say target object dot update, and then after these things, we're going to say target object dot apply modified properties. So let's see if that will let me change this. Because the idea for this mirror attribute is that it lets me, arbitrarily mirror specific fields and then edit them without having to have a custom editor. Which, now that I think about it, is eerily similar to what it was like when I was first learning editor scripting, or rather advanced editor scripting. So I know how to make editors within editors, but now I'm trying to make fields within fields, kind of. So that's kind of fun. Haven't had the best week so far. That's unfortunate. What's been going on? Okay, so yes, it works. Okay, let's see. So we're gonna change this over to Royal Scepter, and then we're gonna select our scepter and please have it be updated. And yes. Okay. So we're gonna change that to Glow Crystal. Change this to Invoice, and then yes, we have it working. That's amazing. Okay. Sorry, I'm just really excited. This is a thing. Okay, so yeah, that's exciting. So let's see. With that, we can probably get back to what we were supposed to be doing, which is combat items. After I take a drink. All that excitement got me thirsty. Okay, so that's where. Oh, right. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to do that test script. So let's give that a shot. I'm going to go from editor or from combat to the editor folder, which is down here. Let's go to scripts. I guess I'll call it utility. Oh, that is really unfortunate. So, oh, that really sucks. So, I am going to be hamstrung by, essentially by the fact that my assembly definition files can't have cyclical references again. So I believe textquest.editor has a reference to sleepyowl.common editor, and my mirror stuff is in the common editor folder, which means that I can't have it reference my TextQuest stuff, which is unfortunate. Might be able to get around that by doing some inheritance, which would be weird and suck, but it would work. So let's try that. Okay. So let me think about a test script that I can do real quick. Actually, that will be much easier. For now, we're going to do this just in the main sleepyowl.common editor stuff. Let's go over here to utility. Actually, I guess I'll just put it here. Create C# script. Call this mirror field. I guess I actually shouldn't call it that. I should call this like property drawer collection. How about property drawer utils? Not the best name. Here's a question in your script. What does target property refer to? If you do a get type, what would it be like? Target property in the mirror scripts are strings because they're referencing the field name or the variable name of the serialized field that you want to target. Nothing seems to be going my way. Girlfriend is out of the country for 2 weeks. Couldn't afford to go on a trip with her, and everything just seems to be messing up. Oof. Yeah. It's never fun to be apart, especially when they're traveling. Where's she traveling to? If you don't mind me asking. So we'll put this in the editor namespace. Static. And did she just leave this week, or has she been gone already for a little bit? Like 7 different countries. Oh, so I'm assuming like a Europe tour then? That's usually the case when it's that many countries. Not a lot of places actually have that many countries in close proximity. So I'm assuming that it's there. I guess it could be Southeast Asia. That's the only other place I can really think of. We left Monday. Well, then at least one of the weeks is already almost over. Anyway, so this is going to be using Unity Editor. Unity Editor. There we go. So we're going to use initialize on load, which is something I very rarely use, but it is quite useful. This is a attribute that lets a class basically load its constructor whenever the code is recompiled, basically. So I think we have to do this. Our utils. Pretty sure we have to do that. Okay, so it's not that. Oh, what is initialize on load? There's a way to specifically structure it. A band tour. Oh, okay. Wait, so he's like playing in a band? Oh, is this like for your school's band? Okay, so I'm gonna look this up real quick. Just make sure I'm remembering this right. Oh, good. Yes, that's nice. Yeah, see? Oh, that's right. It can't be static itself. Of course not. So this can't be static because it has to take a... Oh, God. Why are you going to make this awkward, Unity? Okay. I guess I can just have it be static inside of a non-static class. So yeah, I gotta do like public property draw utils. Do that, and then I can do all the static stuff, I guess, ahead of that. So we'll just say using system.collections.generic. Okay. And for this, we're going to say public static dictionary type. want to make it a system.type. I guess it would make more sense for it to be a string. And then a type, I guess. Or no, it'd be another string, wouldn't it? Okay. So this would be property drawers. I typically name static references with proper camel case instead of lowercase camel case. So we're going to say property drawers is equal to new. Blah, blah, blah. It's the Indiana Ambassadors of Music, so anyone from any band can go. Your band director has to nominate you. My parents didn't want to spend money for this year, so I had to wait until after my senior year to go. Oof. Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I never got to do that when I was in band. Small comfort, though, that might offer. But yeah, I can see why that would be pretty disappointing, though. Have you gone before then? Or is this like a junior, senior year only type event? All right, so from here, we're going to go ahead and say property drawers dot add type of, oh, do I want it to be a string? Yeah, probably. Okay. So we'll say type of okay, let me think. What attributes do I even have in common? Interface field layer attribute drawer would probably be pretty good. Type of system, not system. So this will be layer attribute dot name, I think is all we need, followed by type of layer attribute drawer dot assembly qualified name. Okay, so with that, I think we can probably do something. Let me see. You know, now that I think about it, I bet that this is never really going to change. So I wonder if instead I could... Okay, actually that might work a little bit better. It's still a little cumbersome, but I think it would work. I'm going to do this. So instead of having this utility class that I load up, I think I can change this instead to basically do this. Copy you. Public read-only string drawer. Drawer. What even is it? Of course. That, I guess. Let's try that again. Let's see. It's any high school, but it's over 2. Wait, it's every 2 years. Okay. Everybody gets 2 chances to go. You get nominated for both, anyways. Okay. Huh. Interesting. So is it just like a really intense band boot camp, or is it like a just travel Europe thing? Assembly info. Yeah, that would probably be good. Assembly info. We'll go ahead and call it that, and then we will also do... So this is the full path, and then this is the assembly, I believe. So let's go ahead and move that. Then we're going to say string assembly is equal to this. Do that. And then we can do this. Oh, that's actually not something I can manually specify, is it? That should Gonna have to move these. Okay. Oops. That went terribly wrong. Drawer assembly and drawer type. Okay. Okay, so I think I can do all of those. So it's going to be drawer assembly. You play concerts in different countries. Interesting. So if it's 2 from every school, then I'm assuming it's regular orchestral band, not like marching band or anything like that. Reminds me of, I guess, the days of band camp, now that I think about it. Basically get sent to a centralized area with a bunch of other people that you've never met before, and you just learn a bunch of songs in like a week and then play them at the end of them. Although I guess if it's touring 7 countries, and that's a very compressed schedule to play at. If anyway, public read only string, then I guess I'll call this drawer assembly info. It's a little bit of a long name, but it's equal to this. Okay, let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to keep that as it is. Everything else is going to be null, and so that should work. So let's say this dot drawer assembly is equal to drawer assembly. And this dot drawer assembly info. Drawer assembly info. Okay, let's go over to here, and we are going to do a string.format. So this is going to be string.format. That should be drawer type. attr dot drawer assembly, and then attr dot assembly info, and that's all going to be based off of this. And where are you? Over here. Grab you. Come back to here. Okay, so we need here, here, and then here. So let's try that. It's still somewhat cumbersome, but it's far less so. And we no longer need to care about you, at the very least. Okay, so let's let that compile and see if it works. Yeah, it's just like a concert band that travels Europe of 2 weeks. Huh. Yeah, that was not a thing as far as I knew when I was in high school. Entirely possible that it was just something that my school didn't do, considering that I was in a very remote part of the remote parts of Indiana. Closest thing that we got was Purdue Band Day, I think, which sucked because you basically had to wear your uniform in the middle of summer. Or not summer, it was like in the middle of late summer, and go to a Purdue football game where you would just kind of play with the Purdue marching band. It was not a lot of fun. Mostly because of the very, very hot costumes. Oh, right. Error there. Okay. Let's see if that works. Whew. And if it does, we'll probably end up calling it a night there. Um, we got items started in combat in the sense that they actually are equipable. Well, they can be equipped before you go into combat, and it will properly reflect that. And now we also have this really, really awesome mirroring field that will let us draw everything. Yes. Yes. Cool. Okay. Yeah, that's a really awesome place to stop for the night. So, uh, announcements. Nothing really crazy going on, so we should be doing our standard Saturday dev stream around 3 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. And something I've actually been meaning to ask, are people curious, well, would people be alright if I changed Saturday dev streams to be not specifically text quest related sometimes? So maybe have dev streams where like I work on my avatar guy, because I've recently been wanting to get like Twitch integrations working. Just because honestly, the worst thing is that I use the Twitch. I don't actually use the Twitch dark theme. I guess it's just using after one of the Windows updates, they changed the tint of the title bar at the top here, and now it looks hideous on my stream, in my opinion. So I kind of want to just integrate that into my, or integrate chat into my actual avatar application, and then get that doing what I've always wanted it to do, which is actual full-on free motion inside of my stream. But the downside to that is obviously I've never done Twitch integration, so it would be a lot of hmming and hawing and being frustrated. And probably about half of it I can't actually show you guys because it has stuff like my stream code on it, so I wouldn't really be able to show that. That's unfortunate, but but yeah, that's something I would like to do just because it would give me kind of a nice little break, at least once a week, to just sort of clear my head and do something that I just want to mess around with, instead of just constantly like grinding my face against text quests. As much as I like the project, like it's not healthy to just 24/7 do one thing. So yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing that then this Saturday, giving that a test run. But that should be a pretty good place to stop for the night, I think. So I'll look into Twitch integration stuff and see if I can get something ready for Saturday. Because that would be cool, just to have that be testing. Also, it would be fun to test because it would involve chat being involved. So, yeah. That's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.